Hello everyone, today we talk about the Cultural Revolution in the social period. This period when tradition and education and the people's life was changing a lot. So let's find out why it's important and interesting for us. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks wanted to change not only the political system, but also people's minds, values and everyday life. Their goal was to create a new Soviet person, educated, disciplined, collectivist and loyal to the state. That is why the Cultural Revolution became such an important part of Soviet policy. It affected schools, universities, literature, cinema, theater, science, youth organizations, and even family values. In this presentation, we will show that the Soviet Cultural Revolution had two sides. On the one hand, it promoted education and literacy. On the other hand, it also became a tool of ideological control.
One of the most important achievements of the Soviet Cultural Revolution was the spread of education. Before the Soviet period, a large part of the population, especially in rural areas, had limited access to schooling. The new government launched campaigns against literacy and tried to make education available to millions of people. Schools, libraries, and educational programs expanded quickly. Literacy became an important goal because the Soviet leadership believed that an educated population was necessary for modernization and industrial development. The Cultural Revolution also opened more opportunities for workers, peasants, and women. Many people who had previously been excluded from education gained access to school and universities. This helped create new social mobility and a new educated generation. So from this point of view, the Cultural Revolution helped modernize society. It made knowledge more accessible and changed the social structure of the country.
However, the Soviet Cultural Revolution was not only about education, it was also about control. The state wanted culture to serve ideology. Art, literature, cinema, and even science were expected to support the official political line. Writers, artists, and intellectuals were not fully free to express independent ideas. The government promoted propaganda and used culture to influence public opinion. Creative work had to reflect socialist values and prize the state, labor, and collective goals. One of the clearest examples of this was socialist realism. It became the dominant official style in literature and art. Works were expected to show positive images of Soviet life, heroic workers, loyal citizens, and a bright socialist future. This means that the Cultural Revolution had a serious contradiction. It educated people, but it also limited freedom of thought. Culture became not only a space of creativity, but also a political instrument.
The effects of the Soviet Cultural Revolution were also strongly felt in Kazakhstan and other Soviet republics. On the one hand, Soviet modernization brought schools, literacy campaigns, and new cultural institutions. It introduced new opportunities for education and participation in public life. On the other hand, these changes often came together with centralization, traditional ways of life, local customs, and elements of national identity were often pushed aside in favor of a unified Soviet cultural model. In our opinion, the Cultural Revolution in the Soviet period was deeply contradictory. It cannot be described as only positive or only negative. It helped modernize society, but at the same time, it restricted freedom, controlled artistic expression, and used culture as a means of political influence. To conclude, the Soviet Cultural Revolution changed society in a powerful way. It created progress, but that progress came with a cost. That is why this topic remains important today. It shows that culture can educate people, but it can also be used to control them. Thank you for your attention.